Audience, Superman defeated Goku for a third time. All you Z boys need to suck it up.
It was correct answer, especially the way they did it. The only
Yeah.
problem I have, they keep doing this thing where they don't pick a version. Even like this
hmm
Goku and Superman, they pick feet from like a different Goku and then a different Superman again.
I still go by what they said. They're trying to pick the strongest version of each fighter. You know.
I get it, and they're right to do so. But it just feels bad because Goku's not gonna win.
That's not going to prevent people from wanting him to try.
Yeah,
I
Goku of
was
all
at a
people.
moment, Superman went to like two sons. I'm like, yeah, this guy's dead.
There's a reason why all his bad guys resort to using his weaknesses against him, which is something Goku never would.
That's why I'm
hmm
glad the next one is Unicron versus Galactus stuff.
Whew. I'm going Unicron.
Nah, I'm going Galactus because you know they're gonna be like, oh, well, yeah, Unicron can do this, but old school Galactus can fight Odin, and Odin can destroy the multiverse.
How are you gonna
Em-
go? How are you gonna go
em-
against the evil Unicron?
hey, emphasis on old school, Austin. I've been seeing him take way too many L's these past couple of years. You know,
I'm sure
I
there's some
thought,
old
To be
Transformers
fair,
lore.
I still say other than Hyperion, they would deserve. I,
mhm.
I still say other than Hyperion. They would deserve. Hyperion one was terrible. I can't believe Hyperion just flew through his
You're telling me that Galactus couldn't even win in a fake universe?
Yeah, I don't know why they thought that was a good idea. That didn't make sense. Then have to really lose to the Avengers in the same fake universe.
hmm And plus, we all know, like, what in Galactus they're probably going to factor in, oh, Galactus needs to recharge quickly or something like that, you know? Unicron, I don't recall that being a problem with him.
Unicron doesn't.
The problem is that the Galactus tech should have worked on the Unicron. Unicron
Unicron
doesn't
doesn't
isn't a
get.
planet, but it qualifies as a planet.
Mm.
Unicron doesn't get hungry like Galactus does. He just likes destroying stuff. So it's not even like. So like if
Yeah.
they go
Yeah, I guess.
if they go with like
Yeah,
a
I forgot
long,
about this.
you know. But,
I guess it also
hmm
counts on how they plan to let Galactus feed. Are they going to do the machine, or is it a Galactus that just can stand on a planet and then eat it?
I
oh,
also
that.
Oh yeah, don't forget. If they do like straight up Galactus, that means he don't have his ship, and his ship he has the ultimate nullifier.
Ooh, that's true. Do-do-do-do.
I think that's going to be the ace in the hole.
Unicron's only weakness only seems to be the matrix of leadership. That's the only time. That's the only weakness I've ever seen them pull on him. Really, you know.
Do
It's
you
like because
think he can
anytime they fight
survive being
Unicron,
erased from?
anytime they fight
Do you think
Unicron,
Unicron can be?
it's always been like, oh, if Optimus isn't here or the guy with the matrix isn't here, we can't win.
Do you think Unicron can survive being erased from like everything,
It's
like
never
from
been
content?
it's never been tested to my knowledge, so I don't know.
Hmm.
That's going to be the question. Then, to be honest,
Eh.
Because
I'm sure
I mean,
IDW will have. I'm sure IDW will have some random feat and surviving erasure before.
anime Unicron probably not because his thing was like as long as there's hatred in the galaxy, he's fine.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
It seems like they're doing based on the images. What they're doing class. If they're doing the images, classic Unicron versus like '90s Galactus.
uh, I guess you could make a classic Unicron. I mean, they said they couldn't beat him without the Matrix, but they did like break in his eye, so he is breakable. I guess he
Uh-huh.
has weakness. Uh, that's not this. That's not this
The
review.
oh yeah, I forgot. No, if they do '90s Galactus, he win. Because back then, I don't know if you remember the power of Cosmic. It just does whatever the fuck he wants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm sure they just bullshit. Oh, Galactus is gonna figure out. You gotta remember, Galen's one of the smartest niggas in the universe. He's gonna figure out we can use the power. It's gonna be stupid. I'm thinking right now.
There's like we don't get a lot of Unicron fighting in the '90s, unless if it's like, or unless if it was like, well, the '80s, I should say. Let's visit some cartoon.
Gotcha.
it just only seemed like his weakness was Optimus's Matrix. So I don't know what.
Mhm.
Really, but yeah. All right. But yeah.
I just like how
power time is some bullshit like the comics do all the time.
we I just like how we started this video off with talking about the greatest hero of the West beating the greatest hero of the East.
And now we're gonna do it again. Just kidding. We're gonna be talking about
if it makes if it makes the audience feel better, Godzilla has at least one small win against Superman. All right.
Yeah.
Current
If
comic.
it makes you feel, the other people feel better, the great hero of the West, aka goddamn the Monkey King, beat Hercules in the death battle.
There you go. Oh, and also Broly beat Hulk. So don't call Death Battle biased. All right. So
Yeah, because
yeah.
the whole thing could have actually been debatable if they did like the end of Immortal Hulk when he fought God.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is Phanatic reviews. It's when we take one movie, sometimes two, and then we review them, and that's all we're doing this night. So
Yay.
today we're gonna be talking about, you can see the title, Godzilla Minus One, and here with me, Jake Tylenol, the Godzilla aficionado, but I don't know as much as the best, but I know as better
Yeah,
than the worst.
me.
So
You're okay. You're also here with me, Crypto Secret 415. I don't do multiple intros in a week. Go ahead.
And I guess I'm here, Ace Comics. I'm just here to ask questions. I didn't watch the movie.
Okay.
Together we form the
Not for
Fanatics.
lack of trying.
Yeah, so I guess right off the bat, Krypton and I can get our thoughts on the movies. Do you want to go first, Krypton?
Sure thing. I want to finish off what Jake was saying. Together, we're the Fanatics, but minus one.
Hey, we are.
Thank you, Witch, for that. Okay. Oh, hey, Witch is in the comments. Hey, nerds.
Yeah, Witch left.
Socials are good, and I'm asleep now. Geez, way to emphasize minus one, Witch. When are y'all going to start talking about Pink Godzilla and bye, nerds?
Yeah, and as I explained while you were talking about the death battle, we got Pink Godzilla is not in this film because it's not the same universe. Okay.
Yeah, we already talked about Godzilla last week.
Yep.
But oh yeah, we did talk about Pink Godzilla. Watch our previous episode, which I may or may not put in somewhere. Go watch it.
Yeah.
It'll have Godzilla in the title, I think. Go watch it. Anyway.
Yeah. All right.
What were your thoughts on Godzilla Minus One?
I liked it more than I thought I was going to like it. I mean, when you watch a kaiju movie, you're there to expect a giant monster smashing down cities, fighting another giant monster, bare meat and bones. But this one had like a surprising flavor in it with drama. You actually cared about the humans, you know?
Yeah, that's what I will say. This movie does great. By the way, I should say, I like the movie. I think it's a great film. It's just not. I just don't agree with the internet's like obsession with it.
I've been seeing that too.
I walked away from this movie going like, that was a great film, and then I went to the internet. I was like, this is gonna save cinema. I'm like, oh my god.
MCU need to take notes on what Godzilla Minus One did.
Right. It's so bizarre.
So no. To be fair, that argument was valid because even the Disney dude, like the CEO, was like, "Oh yeah, we need to make movies with characters people care about." That's
okay. And you need to emphasize the character for who they are, I guess, is because Godzilla. Look, while it's cool seeing him fight against monsters and show what a boss he is, he's destroying cities. He's a damn bad guy, you know.
I talked about that too. I think so Japan and America for the first time ever are both doing Godzilla at the same time. Before, what usually happened is like when we first got the chance to make a Godzilla movie, the 90s one, right? Japan was making their Godzilla films, and then they stopped. So we could make ours, and there'd be no competing interest. And that's how we got Godzilla versus Destroyer, which is one of the best Godzilla films before the last two in Japan came out. And so then we made the '90s one. That was terrible. We all know that. Had a great cartoon though.
Hey, that was no Godzilla. That was officially named Zilla.
Yeah, but it had a great spin-off cartoon. And if you want to see the Fantastic Four meets Godzilla, that's basically what that was. So,
hey, y'all want to see an interesting take on Zilla? Look at Cyborg Zilla. Hey, they literally. You ever wondered what happened to the carcass of that Zilla that died in the '90s movie? Oh, aliens just abducted it and turned it into a cyborg.
It was because they couldn't call it Mecha Godzilla, but it was Cyborg Godzilla versus her son.
Why didn't they just call it RoboZilla?
Cyborg sounded more high tech, I guess.
Yes, so. But so basically after that, skip ahead. I don't really know the specifics, but at some point we were allowed to make Godzilla films again. That's how we have the 2014 saga.
Legendary made it exclusive deal.
Yeah, and so they have the Legendary. Yeah, we have the Legendary universe, which over time focused more on Godzilla, the ones from the old movies where he fought the other monsters. But Japan got to continue making Godzilla films, and it seems like they thought, like, hey, since America's already doing the versus thing, let's just go back to the first Godzilla's concept where we use Godzilla to make social commentary. And that's how we got Shin Godzilla, and now we have Godzilla Minus One. So all that to say, now we're in a place where we can have both versions of Godzilla the commentary and Godzilla the fighting monster. And I think that's pretty cool.
Both of which shine in their...
And the fans only care about fighting each other.
Yeah. And they both shine in their own way. A diamond can shine just as brightly as a ruby. You know, doesn't mean one is better than the other.
Yeah, so I think that's pretty cool of them to do that. And I think Godzilla Minus One shines in a way that I think fixes a lot of the problems I used to have with the much older Godzilla films. I think for starters, what this movie does really well is, as Cryptid suggested, like I think I finally legit cared about the human characters. I don't think I ever cared. Like I said, the only time I ever really cared was in the cartoon. But in a movie's context, I don't think I ever really looked at a human and was like, oh, I want to see this guy again. You know what I mean? But,
yep.
So I guess
you want to see this. You want to see these humans live. You want to see them make it out.
Yeah.
You know?
So the plot is such that there was World War II had roughly come to its conclusion with Japan. We pretty much kicked their ass, you know, but it's okay. But we follow a kamikaze pilot who is kind of been disgraced because he's actually kamikaze himself. So now he's returning home from the war, but on his way back, our main character, Kyochi, I think that's how you pronounce his name?
Yeah, Kyochi, yep.
Kyochi, he runs into Godzilla for the first time on near Odo Island. Godzilla is a rumored monster there, and he just kind of roams around. He's just angrily killing people. And so after killing people with bad CGI, he manages to escape and live to tell the tale. But he comes home to a world that's broken, fractured, because America just kind of tore this town to shreds with air raids and stuff like that. And everyone hates him because they know he was supposed to die in the war, but he didn't. And everyone blames him for it. So he suffers from PTSD.
And not only that, but also like the island where he was stationed, those other mechanic troops. It was only he and the chief mechanic that survived. And the chief mechanic is furious at him for not taking the shot at Godzilla when he did. So that adds more to his survivor's guilt because Koichi was the one that survived and while the rest died, you know?
It's a great way. it's a great way to have a protagonist. What I liked about it was like, because you know the protagonist always survives this unlikely shit, but it actually made you feel bad that he survives.
Yeah.
So like, usually you're like, okay, come on, this dude survives all this and everyone else dies, whatever. But because Kyoshi keeps surviving, every time he does, he hates it. Like he's mad at himself for living. So
Mm-hmm.
I kind of like that about his character. And yeah, so he comes home and his town just flat out hates him. And like even one lady's like, why didn't you just die? You were supposed to die. You were supposed to die for your country. You did. We lost and stuff. And he runs into this girl and her daughter. Well, yeah, it seems like her daughter. And after protecting the daughter, the girl reveals like that's not actually my daughter. I during the raids I ran into her parents and her parents made me to take care of this girl, so I did. So now they all kind of live together in one house.
Okay. And to point this out, her name is Noriko.
Noriko. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So Noriko and Koichi live together in this house, and
they're not together as a couple. Just like join together for the sake of a child.
Yes, but the child growing up with them just assumes that they're together. Like she calls Koichi her father, as far as she's concerned.
Very heartwarming.
Yeah, Koichi's like, I'm not your father. Like, don't do that. But disaster strikes again because during okay, so this one I was a bit confused. This is the only time I was confused. I think it did a flashback because Godzilla seemed to have mutated from a nuclear explosion.
No. This is what happened when I was watching it second time. All right. Okay. So in 1945, that's when Godzilla was already attacking, Koichi's his base and that stuff, right? But apparently months later, that's when the nuclear bomb happened.
Okay.
So, and I guess Godzilla was just caught in the crossfire of that.
Right, but he wasn't.
Go ahead.
But there's like a moment where he doesn't attack right away because he gets bombed and he's just like kind of existing, right?
Yeah, he was already previously existed. I mean, how he existed long enough for the people of that island to have already given him a name,
I guess what I'm confused is, was that scene a flashback or was that just happening at the same time? That's what I was confused about.
No, I think that because you remember, like this movie has like a year gap, like where the movie started, like a year passed later, where Koichi is settling down with his with the girl and the child, and in that course, they showed us that the nuclear bomb went off,
Yeah. So it was just during the time skip that happened. That didn't happen right. Okay, that's what I was
Yeah. So audience, like, it wasn't Americans who created Godzilla. Godzilla was already a pre-existing creature in Japan. So
that was like the original Godzilla too. When you watch like the old movies, the nukes just kind of mutated him. There was I think I could be wrong.
Yeah.
It was Godzilla versus Ghidorah in the reboot. I think they established Godzilla had existed on an island. And it was because of a nuke that he mutated to be the Godzilla that attacks Japan in the first movie, essentially.
Okay.
So they actually did call that back from like one of their older movies, which I appreciated. I like that for Godzilla.
You mean in Legacy of Monsters?
Say it again.
You mean in Legacy of Monsters?
That's what Legacy of Monsters took from that film. There's like a really old. There's like one of the older Godzilla films when he's dressed as a puppet. There's a movie where they have to go back in time and undo Godzilla's mutation. And you find out that Godzilla was a monster, like the one in Minus One and like the one in Legacy of Monsters. But he was just a dinosaur that got mutated by a bomb, and that's how he became Godzilla, essentially. So that's what happened. And so they did that in Minus One as well. And so now, at some point, for some reason, Godzilla just decides, fuck Japan, I hate him, I'm going to kill him. So he goes to do his thing.
And America and the Soviet Union are like, okay, yeah, we're not going to get involved in this. Like, okay,
So,
We have
so
our
as
own trouble to deal with.
so as far as the context, so this is during the Cold War. So when the time skip happens, like the Cold War is happening. We're already done with that German shit.
Yeah.
The problem is like I think my geopolitics might be wrong, but I think Japan is in close to Soviet territory. So America doesn't want to be near them because they're afraid the Soviets might see it as retaliatory, like preemptive action. Um,
Correct. Yes.
the Soviets
Mm.
and Japan doesn't want the Soviets to think that there's something wrong with them, essentially because they're
Hmm.
trying to be good. So as far as Japan's
Um,
concerned, this small town has to fight Godzilla by themselves,
yeah.
essentially.
Oh,
Just like
and keep in mind, Godzilla had already attacked one of the Americans' battleships, so they're like, okay, yeah. This is we better stay on our own territory for a time being, you know. So
so so basically Godzilla becomes like a this small town's problem. And so basically as Godzilla so basically Koichi, who's kind of become like his new job, um dealing with themes of suicide as well. He has a dangerous job where he works with a boat crew to disable old
mhm,
World War II mines that are lost in the sea.
yeah,
And
and
now his team is like, and now like his team got a new order, like, hey, there's like something crazy over there. You should probably get rid of. Not to be Godzilla. Uh,
before we get that far, I mean, I gotta say, I do like the crew there because, like,
well,
post a wartime conflict like that, you're going to have to take whatever job you get. So when it came to like the ship, of course you're going to have the sea captain, you're going to have the young buck, and you're going to have the former army vet, and you're also going to have like the engineer guy, you know.
yeah, and I like how I like that. Usually, I have a hard time. Like I think like I'm an American, so I don't know how these things how these. Jesus. I don't like how I don't know how these people speak. So I don't really know the nuances of the language. I just know it sounds nice. But
Yeah.
I will say I did like the personalities that they put into their roles.
Yeah.
Quirks you could tell.
They feel
Um,
they feel like blue collar workers, you
yeah,
know.
because I remember like so many times watching the older Godzilla movies, like the Puppet Days ones, where it's like they're just people in an office that just like talking at you. They have no real like soul or anything about them.
Hmm.
But here, I felt like I could actually identify them as people. Like I know their little quirks. I
Yeah.
know how they feel about situations, and I can identify that.
Mm. Yeah, like the captain already gave nicknames to his crew. He gave the young buck the name of what was it, Green or something like that. Oh no, Kid.
Oh,
And he
because
didn't like he didn't like that, but the captain saw him as a young buck, so calling you Kid, and I'm calling the engineer guy Doc. You
yeah,
know?
Doc was a cool character. I like Doc the most. He was
Oh
funny.
yeah, Doc was a former weapons engineer during the war. So, and again, this job entailed them having to go and disarm dozens of mines that are still existing within the ocean that were left behind by the Americans and the Japanese. You know?
And again, it's fitting into the theme of Koichi just putting himself in harm's way just because like he feels guilty. You know,
Yeah.
uh, it's a dangerous job, and that's all the job. And you know, he
Mhm.
failed his last dangerous job, so this brings up a lot of
Yeah.
small people. We
Yeah.
even get like a scene where he just has like a freak out, which or like one day he just like drink and he like he's spazzing so bad that when Noriko tries to calm him down, like he starts like grabbing her and wondering if she's actually real. Like in his mind, he did not come home that day. So I was like, oh my god. Um, but yeah, so while they're out mining, uh, I think it's Doc, if I remember correctly. He's starting to tell him like, yeah, there's something different about this one. We were told we have to hunt down a creature, and then like Koichi puts together the creature as Godzilla, but then he tells him the origin of Godzilla as far as he knows, essentially.
Yeah.
And even the setup to it is kind of great. To the moment Godzilla appears, and it turns into like Jaws.
That was scary. Like,
So we get
I
our
gotta
first.
say,
Oh, good.
I was about to say, I gotta say, audience, this will, when you watch Godzilla, you don't tend to get scared, but in this movie, there are moments where you're scared of Godzilla. You know?
I would never say I was personally scared, but I did feel for them in that situation.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
I think my own. Okay, so we get our first look at Godzilla. So before I said the first thing,
Wait. Cribbit, out of curiosity, did you watch Shin Godzilla
Shin, which one was that?
it's the one before this. The
2016?
yeah.
No, I didn't.
Okay, we might save that for a movie night. I think.
Yeah, I mean, I only watched the American Godzilla films, so.
Yeah,
Uh,
I listened to your stuff, and it seems like I was like, a lot of things you're talking about is in that movie that we just watched that
Oh,
movie there.
well, maybe
uh,
it's because, like, the Dolby viewing, I saw it on amplified, all that, you know?
yeah. Like I said, I think the so we get our first look at Godzilla. My only problem. This is my only problem with this film, and the only reason it matters to me now is because this is supposed to be a scarier Godzilla. I think Japan has come a long way with their CGI. I don't think it's like quite there yet. I think it still has some problems. I don't really like this Godzilla's face. I think.
It looks
Yeah, who designed his
angry.
eyes?
Yeah,
Who designed his eyes? It's terrible.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's the
yeah.
eyes.
They're going for they're going for the angry look, you know?
Yeah, but I think Legendary does it better because you see his eyes less. I don't like how like visible his eyes are. I
Uh-huh.
think like they seem too human, and it takes me out of the monster look. I think.
Hmm.
Uh, I don't know. Maybe smaller eyes would do. It's like the only real problem I have with the design. The rest of it's great.
Hmm.
I just don't like the eyes. I think it takes me out of like every scene I see his face in. But they are hunting him on the sea, and there's my other. Like I said, every complaint I have about this movie is not about the film itself; it's about Godzilla. It's just really Godzilla. um, my other complaint is that in this timeline, military weapons can hurt Godzilla. The problem is he can regenerate very quickly.
He has a Wolverine level healing factor in this, you know?
Yes. I personally don't like that he's able to be touched by weapons because that's kind of to me argues against the point. But at the same time, given that these characters do have to beat him in the end without military help, I guess that's fine for the
Mm.
purpose of this movie. Anyway, so naturally these characters are not killing Godzilla on a boat. So, it's like a small.
They do manage to get some blows. I mean, I like the part where, like, you know, they use the two landmines. I mean, not, I gotta stop saying landmines. The two mines from the ocean they gathered to, like, you know, put it in Godzilla's mouth and shoot at it. I mean, that was an epic scene, you know?
It was yeah. I like how like creative they have to be to get away from this. Like it's not just like a simple like just drive faster, we'll get away. You know what I mean? Like it's like you actually have to do some stuff to get away from Godzilla, and it feels like you're getting away by the skin of your teeth. Um, and then once they escape, they get help from like a. So this was an actual military ship. There's like one ship they could send, the only ship they could send in the area. And it was supposed to be like their Hail Mary. They're like, oh, surely now that we have this big ship, it's going to kill Godzilla. And then like Godzilla just destroys it. So,
Yeah.
you see Godzilla struggle a little bit, but then he just gets the idea to like go under the ship and just like tear apart from there. So, and eventually, skipping a little bit, but eventually all their efforts to keep Godzilla at sea just doesn't work. And Godzilla eventually just gets to land. And so this is like the crowning moment of every Godzilla movie: the destruction, the carnage. I just don't feel like it's as good as it could be. I don't like how in this movie how like when Godzilla punches debris, it floats. It doesn't just like fall like normally. It's like it looks cartoonish kind of. That was my complaint. And it doesn't look like his steps are always in the scene. And the only reason this bothers me is just because I know in the Legendary universe that would look realer. If like Godzilla stepped on you, I would believe it. And this one, this kind of looks more fake. But
It also doesn't help that the whole fan base is acting like this is the most realistic Godzilla of all time.
yeah, you know. But like I said, the actions are there, and I also still don't quite get why this Godzilla is the way he is, which is weird to say. But like before, what would happen was like Godzilla will be attracted to like nuclear energy, or like he'd be angry because you like messed with his house or something. Like you know what I mean? Like or like a monster would be there. Like he typically had like some like very vague, but like you kind of get it reason. This was just like an asshole.
Well, actually, I kind of find that refreshing because, like, over the past couple of years, if you want to go decades even, Godzilla has been given like the status of, oh, he has to be the one to save the world, or he's an anti-hero, has to have to fight like the next giant monster. But here, he's just downright the villain. Like, wow, he's just destroying stuff just because he can, you know?
Yeah, and I understand that. It's just that, like even in the original, it was like nuclear testing is what made him angry. Like he wasn't a hero; he was still a villain. Like he still was killing a lot of people. But like in the original Godzilla film, it seemed like it was nuclear testing that woke him up and made him angry and throw a tantrum. I couldn't say why this Godzilla is doing what he's doing, and maybe that's okay for some people. I know for a lot of people, it's going to be like, the monster came into town and destroyed everything. Who cares? Which is fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
For me, I just wasn't as connected. I was like, why are you just being a dick, Godzilla?
He has to be a force of nature. That's what they were going for. Because like every time he gets attacked by the humans, I mean, that's just frightening to know that no matter what weapons you throw at him, he's just going to heal and he's just going to continue ravaging. Like the way he walks, right? He walks very slowly, like one step at a time. He doesn't run or anything because he doesn't have to. Everything in his wake will eventually be destroyed in his eyesight,
Right. And I like that too. I think my like I said, I just want to reiterate, I do think this movie is great. I just think Godzilla is my biggest problem with the movie. I don't like what's up?
No, I was telling Jake about this. I didn't like his design. Like as a Godzilla, is great, but Chris, if you look at his body, this Godzilla is clearly meant to fight other things. You look at his elbows, look at the way his claws are made.
Yeah.
He has sharp elbows and all that. He's made to fight other things, but that's not the perfect Godzilla. Oh, like you wasted this great fight design on this town destroying guy who's never going to fight another monster.
I think what I don't know. It's the way they animate it. Maybe it was animated better.
Yeah.
More into it, or maybe it was like. I think my last problem with the characterization of this Godzilla is yes, weapons don't hurt him, and that should be scary in concept. But like, unlike the older Godzillas, like the ones from the older movies, like he actually gets distracted for some reason. In the older Godzillas, if a tank shot at him, he's not looking at the tank because, as you said, he's a force of nature. He doesn't care. But like this one gets distracted by planes, or he gets distracted by like things hitting him, like is like all this other stuff. That was just a small detail I didn't like.
It reminds me of King Kong.
Yeah, and I think my biggest problem with the rampage scene, and I need to rewatch it again. That's why I was trying to rewatch this movie again because I really wanted to make sure I had this same problem, or maybe it was just like not hitting me for some reason. I think the rampage was too. Cryptic, like what happens when he stomps through the city, he punches two buildings, he goes to a train, and then it spends a lot of time with him trying to pick apart this train. And I'm like, dude, put the train down. Go back to fight. Go back to the train.
You never played with your food before, man?
It was just like he was taking so long on this train. It felt like they were just trying to hide how much CGI they had to use. That's what's my But then the crowning moment of the scene, and this scene is actually pretty awesome, and I like the thematic elements of it. His atomic breath, great idea.
Yeah.
I love
it. They added a layer to the atomic breath in the sense of like, when you see that fire and land, right? It simulated a nuclear bomb, which is just much more traumatizing to the people of Japan,
which made the theme they add later to the film even better. Because when the town rallies together, for them, they see fighting Godzilla as their second chance in the war, basically.
Mm-hmm.
This is if we did World War II the right way, essentially, for them. And so Godzilla is basically a representation of that nuclear bomb that pretty much like destroyed them, essentially on like every conceivable level. I thought that was such like a great way to use Godzilla's atomic breath, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy makes like a whole big speech too about like how like Doc, he makes a whole big speech too about how like when the government sent us into war, they didn't care about us. They gave us tanks that barely worked. They told our people to fly planes and just run into things and die. Like they didn't give us.
They're like, why do we always get the rough end of the straw on these? Like, you know.
Yeah. So he was like, so this time we're gonna fight the war the right way. We're not gonna fight. We're not gonna fight to win. We're gonna fight because we want to live, essentially. Yeah. So I like that. I like that message. That was such a good like message for them, essentially. And Koichi being the through line as well, because during the actual Godzilla raid, Noriko dies, basically.
Oh, that was crushing. She dies in an attempt while trying to save Koichi.
Mm-hmm. Oh my god! When he freaked out, I was like, "Damn, dude, that sucks." I'm sorry.
Man, dude. It's like, Godzilla, you just cannot let these people move on with their lives, you know? Like, you can't let them have a happy ending, you know?
I think that was like the crowning jewel of it, like Koichi just being Koichi surviving all it, because you see him just survive all this bullshit, and then Noriko just died. So you're just that sucked. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It made you feel bad he was the protagonist because he clearly didn't want the title. But yeah.
So and even keep in mind, like, before that incident happened, like, she was already talking about like her getting a job of her own so that Koichi could go find someone else, and you're like, oh damn.
Yeah, because at some point during the time skip, they've been living together for a long time, and she just started developing feelings for him. Everyone's been trying to tell Koichi to marry her, but Koichi's like I can't. I'm not in the right mindset. She could find somebody else, basically.
Yeah, he never got over the ghosts of his war, you know.
Yeah, so he's not really in a mindset to be a dad or to marry somebody, but he does care about these people. Like he really deeply cares about it. And what I also like too is like the lady that told him to kill himself, by the way, at the very beginning of the movie. Like she's also kind of like the godmother of the family as well.
Yeah. She ended up losing all her children in the war as well. So, the fact that she sees Koichi attempting to raise this new child, I can understand why she wants to give him a second chance. She wants to help out when she can,
Yeah, even though she's clearly mad at him, like she wants to help the child at first. That's what it seems like. Like she doesn't care about him. She just cares about the child needing somebody. And then over the course of the years, you can tell she slowly starts like seeing like maybe I was too hard on him. Maybe
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so Koichi's just kind of like in this state where like I don't care what we got to do. I'm killing Godzilla or I'm gonna die trying.
So,
and so the town, like I said, the town gets together. They make this plan, and even with the plan, I like how the whole like the liberation of the plan. It's not like he just says the plan; everyone just goes with it. They're like, "Are you sure this is gonna work?" He's like, "I don't know."
Yeah. The plan was to like strap a bunch of these this type of oxygen gas that'll make you sink to the depths of the ocean faster. The idea was to sink Godzilla like 1,500 miles beneath the ocean so that the pressure could kill him,
And so it was like a plan that they weren't even sure could work. But they had to try, and all they have is some ex-Navy people working with them, essentially. Like that's and whatever they got around. So
there was this whole struggle that Koichi had to do into finding his old mechanic. Oh man, I liked how he ended up finding his mechanic. Like he couldn't find his address. He just asked for the last known address he had, and he just sent a bunch of letters to the mechanic, saying, "Yeah, you're the one responsible for the slaughter of your platoon," and
Yeah.
that's what enraged the mechanic so much that he made it a mission to go find Koichi, knock him out, tie him up, and just beat him to a bloody pulp. But that's what Koichi wanted, you know.
I love that scene because while the dude's video about Koichi's like, "Oh hey, how you doing?" Psh, ah.
You mother beeper! I'm the one who caused all our people to die.
But I just needed your help. Um, but yeah, Koichi tells them like because the plan that Koichi was going to be part of was like they need a way to alert because Godzilla's coming back in like 10 days, essentially.
Yeah.
And when he does, like they're just done. Like there's nothing they can do. Like if he comes back again, they can't fight him, right? So they need to lure Godzilla back into the ocean to the specific spot. So Koichi wants to use a plane to do it. So while everyone's on board with this plan, what he doesn't tell them is that his plan is to kamikaze Godzilla in the mouth with a bomb to it, and it'll blow off Godzilla's brains open. That's like his plan.
And that was actually the point that went over the mechanic because, like in the beginning of the film, he saw Koichi as a disgrace for not going forward with his mission of being a kamikaze, blowing himself up. But this is the way he sees that Koichi could redeem himself,
And I like that too. He's like, "You kill yourself." The whole thing, like that's
Hey, this is a win. This is a win-win for me. You get to do what you were assigned to do, and I no longer can see your face ever again.
So he's down to help him, but only these two know this part of the plan. Everyone else just thinks Koichi's going to lead him to the ocean, and that's going to be it. So basically, and this is kind of roughly around the time where like Doc makes a speech about like living and how we need to fight to live, not just to like throw ourselves on the line for like a country that doesn't give a shit about us. Like let's fight so we can live and we make this country better, And so, which Koichi just goes over Koichi's head. Like he's just like, I don't care. I just want to do my thing. And so basically, the plan gets put in motion, and they're just gonna. So Koichi's just gonna do it the way that the plan was started at first. That's his goal. He's just gonna go along with what the plan was discussed. So Koichi leads Godzilla away. Again, I really don't like how distracted this Godzilla gets. It takes away from the force of nature aspect of him. I honestly think, I know for plot purposes, Godzilla has to be distracted, but like it makes him seem like a dumb animal, not really like a force of nature to me.
I mean, keep in mind, like Koichi is the only up to the point where Godzilla is rampaging over the land, right? Koichi is the only one who's firing and retaliating back at Godzilla. So, as far as Godzilla is concerned, this is the only pest that's bothering me,
Yeah, I just know that like if this was legendary Godzilla, like a plane would just shoot at him and he'd just like whatever, right? Like, I don't care.
But that's because legendary has a goal. Legendary trying to go kill a monster or something. They're not worried about that.
That's true. I'm using legendary as shorthand. I'm just saying, like, I feel like, at least in my experience, maybe there's like a Godzilla movie I missed. There's like over 20 of these things, but like I just don't see Godzilla get distracted by one thing, like one small plane. I guess that's really or one small anything, really. If he attacks anything, he's getting distracted because a lot of things are hitting him at the same time. He just gets fed up with it, essentially. But maybe it's the cryptid interpretation where it's like, it was just one plane, whatever. I'm just gonna chase and kill it.
Yep.
So, but eventually the plan works and Godzilla comes out in the sea. And again, like Godzilla just kind of watches these boats circle around him. I'm sorry, wait. The plan had another thing they had to get around because Godzilla has the atomic breath, so they have to get around him shooting them. So there's a boat in the middle of the sea, and Godzilla uses atomic breath and shoots that boat, but no one was really inside the boat, essentially. And so the idea was that now they have until Godzilla can recharge before they, will die. So while Godzilla is recharging, they're trying to entrap him in this circle, which again, Godzilla just kind of sits there and waits and just gets distracted by the plane. I'm like, okay, chill out. But eventually the plan works, and they do sink him. And so as he's sinking, oh no, I'm sorry. In order to do that, by the way, they needed reinforcements because they didn't have enough strength to pull Godzilla down, I think.
Yeah.
So they pull him down, and Godzilla's going down, and the pressure is crushing him.
I think what happened.
So the plan to kill a semi-aquatic animal is to drown him.
Is to crush him with the pressure of the water, essentially.
Yeah, that's something they brought up when Doc was explaining to, like, the pressure there. Even animals like shark, even sea creatures like sharks or octopuses, they're not able to withstand the pressures that deep below the ocean. This was all in theory because they didn't know what else were they supposed to do.
Yeah,
do you have a better idea?
Yeah, because also keep in mind, like, even up until the final night, there are people still questioning this plan. From that meeting to damn near the final scene, people are like, bro, this sounds like dumb as fuck.
Hey, Doc was saying, like, hey, you have a better plan? I'd love to hear it. Like, But what ended up happening was, they were able to sink Godzilla all the way down to as far beneath the ocean as possible. But after realizing, no, he's still alive, they wanted to bring him back up as soon as possible. Otherwise, all the damage his body has sustained will heal over time. And that's why they put like life preservers on him. So, hey, he could come up and they could, go all Hail Mary on him when his body's weak, The
problem is, while they're trying to pull him up, Godzilla is resisting and he's trying to like bite off the rope now. And so they're panicking. Luckily, more Japanese militia come in, and they all work together in a scene for Finding Nemo. Just keep swimming, and like they keep pulling.
Oh yeah, the key. Oh, hold a sec. Let me bring Austin in. Hold on a sec, Jake.
All right.
Okay, Austin's back. This mission, they actually told the kid of the crew, they don't want him joining. Like, this is too much dangerous for you, man. Be thankful you don't have to see a war, this and that. We're doing this mission so you can have a future. But then it ended up becoming that kid who actually rallied the rest of the people in the island to come aboard with their ships, which ended up helping them bring Godzilla back up,
Yeah, which I don't know how I feel about that in story practices, because like the whole idea, I guess as long as the kid didn't die, it doesn't matter. But like, it feels like he really shouldn't have been here based on how they were setting up his arc. But it's fine. As long as he didn't die, it's okay.
But this is like a way of showing, like, hey, this was Japan versus Godzilla. Everybody contributed,
That's true. And so then, so at this time, there's also some tension as well, because as this plan is failing a little bit, we also find out that Koichi left a note to the godmother of his quote unquote daughter. That basically said he's gonna kill himself. And she was angry.
He left behind all the money he had left, just say, hey, if worse comes to worse, use this money to raise his child,
Yeah, and she's angry, and we don't quite understand. Well, other than orphaning this child, that's what it seems like. But there's actually more to it. And so
probably she has a sense of guilt, because you remember she was the same person that was giving Koichi a hard time in the beginning about not dying for his country, and here you have him. And now here you have him wanting to die for his country and leaving this little girl to be orphaned again,
Yeah.
I just learn to care about him a little bit as well.
Yep, character progression.
So, but yeah, so the plan, so they get Godzilla up in time with the help of all Japan. But
keep in mind, once Godzilla came up, it's damn well cold down there beneath the ocean. That's where the whole -1 title came from because when he came up, you could see his body is like, like frostbitten. It's cracking as it's moving. Oh, Godzilla was definitely hurting.
He's freezing, but it's not enough. And the problem is his atomic breath is fully charged, so he's about to shoot off again. And if he shoots this shot, it's over.
Yeah.
I love this moment because I remember being in theaters, and when he came out with the atomic breath, I was like, oh no.
Yeah, that's what gives you the extra suspense, like you want these people to not live, but Godzilla, damn well Godzilla will never die. So.
I was clutching my heart. I was like, oh, GG, they failed. All right, okay. Because I thought what was gonna happen.
Wait. Would you have been okay with that ending though?
Yeah, I would, because my head was like, they're gonna die. Koichi's gonna try to sacrifice himself, and maybe it does just enough. But it doesn't stop. It maybe does just enough for Japan to realize we have to come together and like fight Godzilla together or something. I thought that was really gonna be the ending. But what winds up happening is in the final hour, in the final moments, as everything's in slow motion, Koichi's just like, not today. He comes in on his plane on some hype shit, and he's like, I'm killing you now. My war is ending now. And he flies into Godzilla's mouth as the atomic breath's about to come up, and he blows up Godzilla's head off.
Oh, that was a beautiful shot, man. Like, damn.
I was like, that's awesome. And everyone's like, Koichi, because they didn't know Koichi planned that. So like, Koichi, what the fuck? But turns out Koichi isn't dead. What wound up happening earlier was when the engineer was talking to him and he had to send him to his death. He saw the picture of his family and he realized that Koichi had more to live for. And that moved him enough to install an injector seat for Koichi. So this time he could blow up Godzilla, but he could live as long as he pressed the injector seat, essentially.
Yeah.
So he wound up he wound up forgiving Koichi, and Koichi chose to live rather than die for the ones he loves, or the remaining two, I guess.
This guy is the worst kamikaze pilot of all time. How you don't kill yourself twice?
Hey, yeah, the family come back home too. All right.
Well, he has a member of a family coming home too.
That's true. But Koichi survives. Everyone's like, let's go.
But before we get to that part, let's keep in mind, like, after Godzilla's head blew up, there was still a lot of that energy that he was charging up, right? And that energy that was still stored up ended up cracking the remains of his body, Because remember, Godzilla was, he came back from being beneath the water, which froze all his skin, his organs, his cracking, and all that energy he consumed inside him just helped destroy the rest of his body.
Yeah.
Like, damn.
And while I did like Godzilla's characterization in this one, I really liked this fight. Like this whole like plan, like the way they executed it, it was just so fun to watch.
Yeah.
That's why I kind of like, even though like I don't like how Godzilla is characterized, I think the movie lets me forgive that because of how everything around it works. So, but there is something I can't forgive, and we're getting closer to. I don't think I can.
Let me bring Austin back. Hold on a sec. He keeps losing signal. Okay, go ahead, Jake.
Yeah, so we're approaching the one
Jake?
story I don't think I can forgive right now. I understand why they did it, but like yeah, okay. So basically Koichi returns home and everyone's like partying, they're all happy. They're like, we did it, we won our war. and then like Koichi gets told something after getting hit by like the godmother. And Koichi gets told something that like floors him, and he rushes to the hospital, and Noriko is actually alive. I was like, come on.
Hey, you never saw a body, all right? All you saw was her getting blown away by the impact of that nuclear bomb, all right? So I could forgive them there.
I think what the only thing that doesn't make me outright hate the movie for that is just because it ties into the fact that if Koichi made that dumbass decision, he would have actually ruined her life by doing that. So like I think that was the idea is like never give up because you don't know
I
what
guarantee you, if they made that decision, no.
I think the idea was never give up because you don't know what the next day will bring. But it also, to me, it kind of took like the wind out of my sails a little bit with the movie. I was like, okay, whatever.
I mean, does it make you feel better that, of course, she has a busted arm, she had bandages all over her eyes. I mean, do you want to look at her legs to see like all the scarring or maybe even the missing limb, Jake? Like,
No, I want her to be dead.
Right.
That was the main emotional kill of the movie, and you undid it.
That was the
Still
driving
good.
force. Yeah, it was a driving force for his character. Like I said, I keep going back and forth, but I keep landing on like I don't like it. So like,
I like the happy ending for the sake of the child, but that's just me.
I think that, like I said, I like the idea of like of just rewarding him for not going through with it because he actually had no idea that she was alive. For all he knew, he was gonna kill himself, and the godmother was all the daughter was gonna have left. He didn't realize he was gonna hurt Noriko as well for doing that, and so the movie kind of rewards him for making a better decision. It's just like, damn, bro, like that was just like I don't know. But yeah, Godzilla Minus One. It's a great movie.
Does this ending make you feel any better? Oh, let's wait for Austin to come back a bit. Sorry, audience, technical issues here. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and say it. We see the remains, the big chunk of remains that are left of Godzilla by the end, and he's regenerating.
I don't really know how to feel about that because,
like, hold up a sec. Let me bring Austin back.
Did he just get kicked out again?
Yeah, I'm just bringing him back. Okay. That's why we had a pause earlier. Okay, there. Austin, just to tell you, by the end, like, the end credit scene was the last giant chunk left of Godzilla that's just floating down in the ocean. It starts to regenerate.
That tells you this movie's not getting a sequel, by the way.
Yeah. Ooh. I think,
and the reason I say that is not because he's regenerating. It's because if you do this regeneration like this, that means every little piece that's blown up should regenerate as well.
Yeah, I guess true. I mean, unless you want to say like as long as Godzilla has his back or his heart,
I think my issue with setting up the sequel like that, because for these, unlike Shin Godzilla, these are actual characters with arcs that kind of ended all by the end of this movie. So like, I kind of don't want to see them do this again. I kind of feel like they should be able to.
Because Toho is not going to let him not attack this town. They are obsessed with only attacking themselves. It doesn't make sense.
I don't see any value in making a sequel to this film. I think it just should be one and done. So I was okay with it.
I'm satisfied with the happy ending that Koichi had with Noriko, so I don't want to see anything more after that. I don't want them to have to repeat their nightmare, building up their lives, buying a decent house, seeing their daughter grow up, only for this mother beeper Godzilla to come back and destroy everything.
Godzilla kills her again, but not really.
No, this time Koichi is the one who appears to be dead, and it's Noriko who has to avenge him.
It's a great film. It has like issues, but like only one of them is story related. The other is just characterization preference, and I just don't prefer Godzilla like this. I think I like. We saw Shin Godzilla earlier this week.
Wait. What's your rating? What's your two rating?
I I give it a 9. I just like between 1 and 10. I give it a 9. I enjoyed the experience overall. I enjoyed the drama, the character, and the storyline, and that won it over for me.
If I went by the Krypton, I'm not really gonna break this down for you now. I might do it later. But if I went by the Ink Tank ranking, it would be like a 7.5. If I went by my personal ranking, it would probably be like an 8. I would say.
Okay.
So, I think
What?
I don't know. Say it again, Austin.
What?
My personal ranking, I don't think reflects like.
A 7.5 out of 25?
No, I know. Remember, we did the whole. Okay, there's a whole behind the scenes thing. I'm not really gonna get into it. It would be.
No, you said the Ink Tank one, right? I'd like to say that what you were doing.
Right, but remember, I'll explain it afterwards. Basically, the Ink Tank ranking, if I was doing it the way Austin wanted, it would be a 15. I think it was like a 15 out of 25. If I went through all the numbers, it was a 15 out of 25, and then, but like my own personal ranking, which if you simplified it would be a 7.5. That's what I did. But my actual like personal ranking would be like an 8. I think I want to give it. Basically, just go with 8.5. I mean, 8. Just go with 8. 8 out of 10. That's what it is.
Yeah, you talk about Shin Godzilla.
Yeah. Shin Godzilla. Yeah, so Shin Godzilla Crypto. This is the movie that they did before this, and it was about the government fighting Godzilla as opposed to the people, and how like ineffective the government could be and everything.
Yeah.
What was cool about this movie was there was no main character. It was just like Japan versus Godzilla. And I like the way they did Godzilla there because Godzilla really does come across as a force of nature. Like that is what I like that one more than I like this Godzilla. I think so.
That Godzilla disgusting cryptid. It's so nasty.
Okay, I'll take your word for it.
But so I guess the fan outbreak of this movie has been like I think kind of over dramatic. I think it's talking about
it's so toxic for no reason.
Right. It's like people are like, "Oh my god, this movie's gonna save son of a." I've said this before. It's just like Jesus.
Oh my god, Toho should just get the right to Godzilla back.
Forgetting the fact that Toho made like a bunch of Godzilla movies that were not that great beforehand. Some of the best Godzilla films that I've seen in this genre are from America. Okay, I'm just saying that. I'm just saying.
Take that, audience. America does the better Godzilla films in the mass.
Yeah, we have we've done 5. I would say like 4.
We have one bad one, a mid one, and everyone likes the other.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone turned around on 2. Everyone's like, 2 was a great film. I had to go back to 2. And I was like, should have. And Godzilla versus Kong. And now we're having a new one. Which I don't know yet. I don't know if it's good. But so far we're doing pretty good. I think it's doing pretty good.
This is a fine time to be a giant monster fan, audience. You know?
Yeah. Now, I don't know what Japan has planned for Godzilla moving forward, and honestly, I like that because, like I said, like we get all the giant monster fights, and they get to do creative other stuff with Godzilla, and I think that's pretty cool. So,
I won't lie though. If this gets a sequel and Shin Godzilla didn't, I'm gonna feel that way.
Yeah,
I think the sequel of Shin Godzilla would have been crazy based on what they set up in the end.
Cryptic, the way Shin Godzilla ends, like it kind of begs a sequel of some kind.
Wow.
Okay. That movie won movie of the year and like 5 awards and all the major award stuff in Japan. And it was like, no, we're not doing it.
Good lord.
I guess maybe he was afraid to top perfection. But yeah, maybe we'll watch that and do a retro review. You know, we can watch that for a movie night, or you can watch it by yourself if you want.
Okay.
But yeah. So Godzilla Minus One, great film. Austin, based off everything you heard, what did you think?
I think that was good. Like, look at the character stuff. I had to see it to really like it. Because I won't lie, I was kind of with the old lady. Like, bro, you should have killed yourself. I can't believe you had one job. and then find out that he did it twice and then die. Come on.
What I liked about it is it sounds messed up to say, but the way they explain how Japan saw kamikaze soldiers, I'm like, yeah, man, why'd you kill yourself? Why'd you not die for your country? What's wrong with you?
keep in mind that lady was punching Koichi because he didn't die in the war, and then by the end she punched Koichi because he was trying to die for his country. Like, come on.
You know what? We can't say that too. I love how this movie gets you to understand Japan during that time period. Like things that like I said, things that just seem weird to me. Like because I remember growing up as a kid, like why would you just tell your soldiers to fly a plane into something and die when you could use it for other things? But the way they explain kamikazes and how they see it as such this honorable sacrifice. It's not in a way where it's confusing. It's like if you follow their train of logic, it makes sense. You're like, oh yeah, I guess yeah, you probably should have killed yourself there, guy. So you actually do understand from a cultural. That's probably the benefits of this being a Japanese movie, by the way, because you actually do understand the cultural significance of the things that happen because of the war, essentially. Mm. So I did like that. I did like seeing the towns when they were kind of rabid, seeing like how they had to. There was a scene where Koichi's like, maybe I could get enough money and buy American milk, and I'm like, oh my god. Jesus.
There you go. There you go.
I can't imagine you going to war with a country and they ransack you, and then you're being like, I need to buy milk from them. You know what I mean?
I'm more concerned about what the Japanese milk look like. They're like, oh, this is American milk. See?
Yeah.
Hey, no, they specifically said powdered American milk. So
for the baby, but like they don't have powdered, powdered American milk over there. Could use. What do they need our milk?
Credit. I'll tell you, Jacob, about this. I want, if they do another random Godzilla, I want one to be a conspiracy theory film. Because the idea that we nuke them and then suddenly a giant monster pops up seems kind of suspicious. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
God.
I feel like that could work as a short film.
Yeah. But I think this is also the first Godzilla film I could say I love the human characters more than Godzilla. So, won that. They did that.
There you go. Give it praise, at least in that area.
Yeah. But Godzilla Minus One.
I think the only other film I cared about people was Godzilla vs. Kong, and that was just like the Kong people. The little Gia, the scientist man, and the scientist and the soldier dude. I forgot his name, but I like those two together. Too bad the guy's not coming back for the next one.
Cryptid also told me about this in the server, but like apparently this guy is interested in like doing a Star Wars project. Is that correct?
Yeah, this guy wants to do Star Wars.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't see why not. Like,
I think
based off make it low budget, put it in a time period of his own. I'm sure he could do great.
Yeah, based off how he handled that final battle, I could see him doing like a callback to episode 4. Remember when like Star Wars, he just had like a Star War at the very end, the one movie they did. So they could do that. Godzilla Minus One. I don't know if it's open where you guys or wherever you are because the movie is barely in theaters over here. So, go find it. Go watch it.
Well, I had to drive 40 minutes to go see it, and audience, it was worth it. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. I guess this is where we.
2 hours to see this film, and then when I actually did try, it was already sold out.
Oh. Gotcha. Anyway, all right. I think we should plug in our socials and close out for tonight. Well, follow us on Twitter at Comic Phanatic 69, or you can also follow us on Instagram at Comic Phanatic 2.0. And yeah. Any final thoughts before we close out, guys?
Why can't Godzilla do better?
All I know is history shows again and again how nature points out the folly of man. Godzilla.
And remember, Americans make Godzilla good movies in the mass.
We made Godzilla great again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Stop,
Yeah.
stop the American hate just because y'all like minus one. That is weird.
Yeah, it's very.
It's like, yeah. Now y'all like, oh, Godzilla's running. He can't do that. It's like he's been doing it for 3 films in a row. What are you talking about? He's been doing it since King of the Monsters, and y'all didn't say anything because minus one came out. Now suddenly a problem that he can run,
It's true.
and it
All
doesn't
right.
help that he also evolved in this film. So he probably just made himself more agile.
It's true.
Hmm.
But
There you
also,
go.
Rand, just want to put that in. But no, that's another thing.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
But let's get out of here. Yeah.
All right. Bye, audience. Bye.